Hey, it's Eve. So I'm feeling like shit right now, and I thought it would be a good time to make a video, one, to show the reality of the creative process, and two, hoping that by the end of it I gain maybe some clarity, because like I said, making these videos somehow helps me see the truth. Um, so let's see. So today, okay, so yesterday I had a really kind of powerful day. I had a long session with Jaya, a teacher I work with, who's amazing, and during the session I felt like I got, I don't know, this like really deep clarity about what I'm doing here, you know? And it's weird to put into words because it's something that I feel like I've been talking about for years, like, um, but it kind of, I don't know, I felt it at a different level. You know how like in hindsight, usually it's like, oh yeah, of course, that's always been what I'm into, or you know, life has been guiding me to that. It's kind of that feeling, and like it feels obvious now that I've accepted it. But um, yeah, so pretty much it's about I've been talking for a long time about I'm here for freedom, you know, to experience freedom and to help other people experience freedom. And from like a mental and emotional slavery, that's what I've been saying and what I believe. It's like identifying people's limiting beliefs and their unconscious energy patterns and helping them release them or see them in a different light so that they're not enslaved by them. And a big part of this has been so that coupled with like the integration of the masculine and feminine, the dance of the masculine and feminine, like that's also been a part. So, but you know, intimacy and sex, and like I see creativity, I see readings as sex. Like when I give a reading to someone, I feel like it is the most naked um, way to be with someone, to experience someone. Like I feel honored after I do a reading with someone because it's like I'm seeing their soul in a way that, you know, like spend an hour with someone just having lunch, I would never get to see and experience. And I see creativity as that. Just, you know, it's constantly a process of penetrating something and then allowing it to move you and then letting it get to its height and then, you know, conceiving something new and then birthing a new story. It's just like this repeated thing. Um, and yeah, and so I just got that it's about sexual slavery. I think, I know that I feel like all scarcity, the idea of scarcity and our lack actually comes from sex. Because from sex is where we get our ideas of competition, right? Like for me to have like one mate or to keep my mate or whatever, I need to compete. Males compete to win the female, and then the female compete to try to keep security. And that whole thing's a joke. So, but from that stems everything. Our whole culture is built around that. And so, if you could heal that original sin, which is idea of separation and lack, then we could really experience abundance and freedom. So I think because I haven't felt like I'm this fully sexually liberated woman, I'm like, how could I possibly heal other people's from this sense of sexual slavery? Um, but why not? First of all, like we're all healing things while we're teaching them and sharing them. And two, um, yeah, if that's what's coming through me, that's what's coming through me. It doesn't really matter what I think or what I know. And I'm definitely liberated creatively, and creativity and sexuality, they're really the same thing. And actually, that's kind of the point. the way that we think about sex as an act, like a physical act, is the more I'm becoming awake to the idea that it's actually not about the physical act at all. This sense of union, the physical act is such a small part of it. And to really be able to like be intimate with someone, to be naked with the world, with yourself, with another. Again, it's more like the reading space. It's more like that space of oneness that the physical act actually can take you away from if you are not liberated mentally and spiritually. If you are, then the physical act can add to it and just keep, and it's rich and it's beautiful. But if you're coming from a mental space in which you're not free, then no, like I'm meeting a lot of people who are polyamorous, and just because you're having sex with whoever you want doesn't mean you're a liberated woman, and but it's a good step, right? It's like much better than repressing that sexuality. So yeah, just so anyway, that's an aside. Actually, that's just, so that felt really good to me, to own it and to be like, okay, this is what I'm here for. And it's so great because like the name Eve, just as a metaphor, right? Like the original Eve kind of bringing about the fall of man and original sin, and making pleasure, the idea of pleasure like a sin, and or pleasure itself, physical lust and pleasure, kind of separating man from his divinity and all of that, and to flip that completely and liberate people from that very idea, and to live in a world where we can be innocent and naked and in paradise, and it can include sex, it can include all of the bodily, organic experiences, while still remaining innocent and not being overcome by those experiences, so that we lose our mental and spiritual capacities, or that we flip from instinct and lust and body to like mental and rational and separate. It's like, can we stay connected in the heart while experiencing that whole world? Okay, so I'm like, that's like came into me really strong. I felt like good about it, and I was integrating a lot. I was really tired the rest of that night, and so today was like 8-8, right? And like eight's in my story, eight's my life path number, like eight's infinity. And so I was thinking, oh, maybe today it's like, it's almost like my rebirth, like I'm claiming what I'm here for, and it's portal day. And so I was kind of like hoping I would, like, I don't know, I guess like the day I'd feel really clear and strong and feel like things shifted, and I didn't feel like that. I felt yeah, not that clear, and just like not particularly creative, and starting to get into fear, like, and so, oh, and last night also I felt really irritated by just, I just feel like I'm tired of I'm tired of explaining myself. I'm tired of people that don't really get me, and that of course just seemed really backwards. Like I just feel like I'm not, like I was just irritable, and I'm like, what kind of energy is that? You just like stepped into your power and you're going to be irritable. And today I picked these cards. It was one was a Brigitte, like don't back down, and then virtue, which is all about, yeah, like staying on your course and being really clear. So anyway, later in the day, I received a reading from this woman named Denise. I will actually add her name so you can look her up and maybe get a reading from her, because it was awesome. And I don't usually receive readings from people anymore because I'm just getting a lot more discerning about, like, yeah. I used to be like, oh, free service. Like, I want to learn as much as I can from anyone. But I'm finding, just like socially as well, like being open to everyone and everything is actually not so great for me. Like, I just like I'm owning the fact that actually, yeah, I have blind spots and all that, but like most people's opinions don't really, they're not helpful. And what most people think they see or perceive is actually at like a lower vibration or not as clear as what I see. And so I'm just owning the fact that like I know myself pretty well. And just because what someone says might have a kernel of truth, it doesn't mean I have to take on their projection or have to let it affect me. And I think in the past I've like really, I really listen to what people say and I take it to heart, and I can see the truth in almost anything. So when people say something that's like critical or different from what I was thinking, I'll suddenly be really thrown off my own center. And and I'm just watching that now. Like, you know what? There's always going to be that shred of doubt, or there's always like, yes, it's always going to be true that there's some part of you that's like small or negative or bitchy or whatever it is. But that doesn't mean you have to like choose to identify with that just because someone else sees it, you know, or points it out. So anyway, I think I'm just kind of getting more and more like just like fuck people and spaces and experiences that don't lift me. You know, I don't need to go into like more analysis and more questioning. You know, like I'm naturally like that. So now this is really important for me to focus on like what feels awesome, what I'm here to create, and what helps me grow and stay encouraged, you know? Um, so anyway, I sat with it for a while before I decided to receive this reading. I only receive readings from one other person. I do trades with her. Her name's Kristen. I will put her information up too because she's amazing. And we do trades like every once in a while. But so today in my reading with Denise, what came up was that aligned with the idea of like the stay focused on the vision. It was like the idea, this is great, about like that it's like a football game. Like you keep your eye on the goal, you know? And just like football, like where you know it's a long game. Like there's like you like move forward 10 yards at a time and then you move back and there's interceptions. And I remember watching football and being like, God, the whistle blows like all the fucking time, you know? And just that's how it is. And to not get discouraged, you know? And even when like it seems like the other team has the ball, instead of focusing on defense, still focus on like the goal, which is like my vision, you know? And to me that's like, yes, there's always going to be this ego. And there's always going to be like the doubts and the fears, and you know, you're never really going to heal that because the ego's job is to be in fear and to protect and to be in the past. So this constant struggle with like the self-help and like, you know, if I could just finish and never feel these things again, or like solve the riddle of like why I'm fucked up, you know, then I could like move forward. It's like, no, that's not meant to be solved. It's just meant to be noticed and then to keep focusing on the goal. So it's like I don't have to spend my energy trying to battle these parts of myself or other people, you know, things that are in resistance or not in alignment. I don't have to battle them. I just have to keep redirecting my focus. So that felt really aligned. It felt really aligned with that whole like don't back down and be in virtue and be clear.